Let's get into it. It's crime o'clock, yeah, feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop, let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah, it's crime o'clock. Clock, clock, yeah. Typically music, neon signs glow, brick wall behind me. Headlines loud, but they never define me. They rush the story, skip the proof. I slow it down, let it show the truth. Files on deck, read every line. Timestamps matter, so does time. If it don't fit, I don't force the frame. Ask one question, whole story change. No fear my voice, no need to shout. Paper speaks when you read it out. If the math's off, I'll circle twice. Truth ain't loud, but it ain't nice. Yeah. Read it again. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah. It's crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Read it again. They sell a narrative if I sell receipts. Courtroom quiet, but the pages speak. Word for word, no added spin. Let it stand, yeah. Let that sink in. Screenshot save, timeline's tight. Missing pieces keep me up at night. If they say elected, I say why. If they say case closed, I say try. No rush here, we do it right. Truth don't bend for the likes of hype. If you came for noise, you in the wrong spot. This is evidence, this is crime o'clock. Clock, clock, clock. Stay with me. This isn't background noise. This is pattern recognition. This is documents. This is crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Say it with me now. Crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Typically unique. It's crime o'clock. Yeah. If you're here, you're early. If you're listening, you're paying attention. Show starts now.
Welcome back to Crime O'Clock on Typically Unique. Good morning. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all doing great today. I went on, and I know I was late posting that I was going to go live. And as I did it, I was like, let me see who all is live right now. And I know Senor was. Oh, thanks, Shay, for the feedback. I changed things around in here. I forgot to tell you. Yeah, I saw Senor. So maybe everybody's over there, but hopefully everybody will be joining soon. Let me say, hey, Mike. We're talking David Anthony Burke today. And hey, Jenna, I'm so glad you're getting your book. I figure everybody's probably like sleeping off their Idaho 4 massive information overload. I mean, we've got interviews dropping. The long interview with Jack Showalter dropped. The Lakeland McComas, her interview dropped. I think there were a couple more. And then the book. Everybody's talking about the book. I am only on Talking Idaho 4 for a second with Idaho 4 and Broken Plea, the book. Reading it cover to cover. I'm only on chapter 3. I am writing down page numbers and notes so that I can quickly go back and find the information I want. And oh my gosh, I can't go more than a couple pages without making note of a page. And I also wanted to tell you guys, like, I'm a book nerd, you know, former teacher, always a teacher. don't sleep on the vocabulary in this book. I am marking vocabulary words because even going back and watching some of Christopher Whitcomb's interviews, he drops some words and I'm like, how are you just pulling that out in your normal everyday vocabulary? Like, so I might do an episode just on words I've learned in Broken Plea. There's a couple other things that I'm reading this book definitely for the information, right? Definitely for the information, but as literature, I love the theme that he's following with the butterfly effect. And he's following it. He's tracing that all the way through the book. So I'm making note of that because he's tracing through this case. When did that tiny little flap get bigger and bigger and bigger? And so you could look at that as maybe like a little hint he's dropping along the way. Like, where did the big turning point come? I'm reading it that way also. So yeah, I'm loving it so far. So all right, we are talking David Anthony Burke today. I first said I'm not calling him D4VD anymore because he's kind of lost that, he should lose that moniker. But whenever I search for information, that's still what everybody's putting. So I don't know. It is what it is. So I did tag it that way. And it's also important to say we are also just discussing Celeste Rivas Hernandez, right? She's the victim in this case. And this is another case where so much information has come out. That's why I put in the title like crazy updates. And I tried to gather as many different topics about this case as I could to get us up to speed. So just a little background if you're not familiar, okay? There's currently David Anthony Burke is 21 years old, and he has been arrested for the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And he was charged not only with murder, but like special circumstances. So lying in wait, we have information about what exactly that meant now, what he did, and lying in wait, monetizing, and how did they word it? She was a witness. Okay. So I called this as soon as I heard about him being the suspect. I'm like, she had to have threatened because she was 14 when she died. So he was over 18. She was 14. And I figured, so I guess it was when I heard that there were other girls. Okay. So this guy, the stuff that is coming out about him, what he's had on his phone, digital wise with underage, it's disgusting. And I just thought that, oh, she, probably found out about another girl and got mad and threatened, especially being a 14-year-old. And there was no way that I feel he was going to let that happen. And it looks like that is what happened, that she threatened to go to authorities, and he wasn't going to let that happen. So, but I said I was going to give some background on him. He met Celeste. They are now saying they think because of online footage they've gotten, when he used to game online playing Fortnite, it seems like they're maybe about 5.5 years apart. So he was like 15, 16, and she was 10. And going into these gaming rooms, and that's how they met. Then he was playing music and kept getting strikes, I guess, for playing this music because, copyright. And so his mom said, make your own music. So he did. He blew up on TikTok. He got a record label deal, and blew up first on social media. So and that whole entire time, through this whole process of being a nobody all the way to going on tour, he was with Celeste and meeting in person. She would run away from home, go stay with him. And a lot of people are like harping on the parents. And I guess when the parents first found out about this, they took her phone away. So they took her phone away. And then I heard information that there was like a junior high kid, because she by this time, I guess, would have been like junior high age. I did hear information about some junior high kid. Well, I guess David, would find these people online, found some kid that went to Celeste school, paid him off to give her another phone. So I know somebody personally who's going through things like this with a child, and it's like cat and mouse. I mean, just you as a parent do something, and then the kid finds another way around to do it. And so, yes, we can look at things that went wrong with parenting and all of that. And people are speculating, and I don't know about payoffs or things like that. I haven't seen any of that verified with the parents. Sometimes it seems like the parents knew she had a boyfriend named David. But he was trying really hard. He did a lot of sneaky things to like keep getting back in touch with her, and she was also. So, speaking of the parents, the last time I went live for this case, hey Jessie Lynn, hey Sleuther75, hey Mike, I hope I said good morning to you. The last time I went live, they had the what do they call it? The arraignment. Okay. So they arrested David. He was in jail for the weekend. Then they brought him in front of a judge and they charged him. And the parents were there and they were supposed to come out and speak. So I just found an article about the parents, because I'm like, what happened? Like, I literally sat on live for like, I don't know, it was hours. If you saw that live, it was like just us being ridiculous, joking around, because we were just waiting and waiting and waiting, and they never came out. But it was crazy. I guess there were bomb threats and all kinds of stuff. Oh, people go crazy over these cases. Thanks, Mike. All right. So we don't want to start our day with that. So this is Los Angeles. This is where this happened, Los Angeles, California. And it says, all we want is justice. Celeste Rivas Hernandez's parents issue first statement. So they never did end up going out to speak. Okay. So this says the family intended to deliver their statement to the press in person on Monday following singer David's first court appearance, but were overwhelmed, according to their lawyer. So this was, it was updated on April 21st. So this says, the family of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the 14-year-old girl whose remains were found in the trunk of singer David's vehicle, broke their silence on Tuesday to express their gratitude to the community and investigators. We would like to thank the Los Angeles Police Department and the District Attorney's Office for their hard work. See if that helps. Can I? Yeah. And that was a statement by Jesus Rivas and Mercedes Martinez, the girls' parents. We would also like to thank the people of Lake Elsinore. So that's the town that Celeste lived in, for all their support. The statement, which was sent on behalf of the girls' parents via their attorney, went on to speak about the late teenager. They said Celeste was a beautiful, strong girl who loved to sing and dance. Every Friday was movie night, and we spent wonderful times together. We love her very much, and she always told us that she loved us. We miss her deeply. All we want is justice for Celeste. According to their lawyer, the family intended to deliver that statement to the media on Monday following David's first court appearance. However, concerns for their safety arose after a bomb threat, you guys. That's why when I was live waiting for them to come out and speak, I don't know, it looked like there was definitely something going on. Like, couldn't tell what, and they wouldn't let anybody in the building. That was the thing. They wouldn't let anybody in the building. So apparently it's because there was a bomb threat. And that is according to Patrick Steinfeld. He's the family's lawyer. They were intimidated by the onslaught of reporters and the aggressiveness of some camera people. And he added that the girls' relatives are very private individuals. They were devastated after hearing the gruesome details that came out in David Burke's arraignment. And it was gruesome. And I did say trigger warning in the title, because we are going to be hearing about how she was killed and her injuries and things like that. And it's disgusting. He also described the family as exhausted, emotionally drained, and needed time to compose themselves following the singer's arraignment. I might have to play these little clips they got on here. David, whose real name is David Burke, faces a first-degree murder charge in connection with Hernandez's death. The girl's body was found in the trunk of his impounded vehicle on September 8th. So she was just found this past September 8th. Okay. They now know she was killed. They know the exact date and time, not time, the exact date, approximate time, because he sent an Uber to go pick her up in the town she lives in, Lake Elsinore, to bring her to his house. And that's where the lying in wait, however you say that, comes in. Because as soon as she got there on April 23rd, I believe, April 23rd, 2024, he killed her within 20 minutes. And he killed her by stabbing her. Okay. The suspect pleaded not guilty on Monday at his arraignment. He is scheduled to return to court on Thursday for a preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing has been postponed to April 29th, I believe. It's the latest update I have. See what you guys are saying. Money does crazy things, Jessie Lynn. Celeste deserved better from everyone. Yes. I mean, I know the cops, at least once, they went and found her when she ran away and brought her back home. Yes, he sent the Uber to her home. Yes. Now, were her parents home at the time? I don't know. I don't know that detail yet. This case is getting hot, Mike, and I heard there's a little confusion and discrepancy with the LAPD and the district attorney's office. So we're going to listen to some experts explain this a little bit further. But this case was at the grand jury process forever, like months and months. And come to find out, I heard there were like 3 different grand juries that were brought together to do this. But apparently it looks like the LAPD is not on the same page, even though publicly they're saying they are. It doesn't look like they're on the same page with the district attorney's office. One of them, maybe it's the LAPD, I'm not sure, wants to they wanted to hold off because I suspect, based on what they have found on David's phone, I suspect he is attached, possibly, this is allegedly speculating, to a higher ring of this pedophile stuff. That's how it always goes, right? And so if you're the detectives trying to track that down, maybe they wanted more time for that. That's what it's appearing like for me. If Mike, let me know what you think. Or anybody else that's been following this case. And then I think the district attorney's office is like, we're just going. We've got enough for a case. Let's get this guy. Because there has been a lot of pressure for them to, take this guy in. Yes. I'm trying to get my hands on those new documents, Jessie Lynn. And I'm going to show some reports of the news stations that have those documents. So what does this say? That was his first court appearance. And this is his attorney showing up at his home. Let's look at this.
The new care.com makes it easier than ever to find the care you need. Because while you want to care for your loved ones,
it did. What is this? All right, just play it. Well, now what? What did I do?
It can't always be you. And you don't have to hire just anyone. You can find a background-checked caregiver who's the right fit for you. From child and senior care to pet care and more. Join now.
3, 2, 1. It should be over.
To the Hollywood Hills, where neighbors are talking now about the takedown and the arrest of singer and TikTok star David. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. NBC4 Investigates was first to break the news of David's arrest. He is now being held without bail for the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Teenager's body was found inside of David's impounded Tesla. That was back in September. He was reportedly on tour at the time. NBC4's Alex Wazir joins us live with new video and reaction now from neighbors. Alex.
Michael and Colleen, this is normally a very quiet road here in the Hollywood Hills, but about 24 hours ago, it became a police scene as the LAPD arrested the singer David outside this home.
It feels like you don't care.
He's an internationally known singer who rose to fame with hits like Romantic Homicide.
In the back of my mind.
Arresting the singer, whose full name is David Burke, yesterday in the Hollywood Hills.
It felt like 100 police officers, a canine unit. I heard someone on the megaphone saying, "Surrender, surrender, come out."
The arrest comes 7 months after 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found dead in the trunk of his Tesla in a Hollywood tow yard. I spoke about the arrest with legal analyst Royal Oakes. What's your reaction?
It's a huge question about why it took authorities 7 months to arrest this man. The DNA evidence probably was gone because there was so much deterioration of the body. Plus, the authorities wanted to talk to lots of witnesses. That probably explains the gap.
I am surprised that after how many months? April? 5 months? 5 months of her being in that car, the medical examiner was still able to tell that she was stabbed. I was amazed at that. and there were other gruesome injuries that they were still able to tell. Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I was saying when they played the clip of his music, I hope I'm not going to get flagged by that. I probably am. So that's why I muted the song, because, they're allowed to play it on their news station, but YouTube won't let us play it on here.
The fact that they have made the arrest now suggests the authorities think they have a very strong case.
Around the time of the singer's arrest, NBC4 shot exclusive video of David's attorney, Blair Burke, leaving her office. Then today, NBC4 Investigates obtained surveillance video that appears to show the defense attorney near the police scene minutes later. This afternoon, Blair Burke returned to the home where police arrested the singer and made no comments as she left.
So that's interesting that his defense attorney went straight to the scene. That's good to know that, that attorneys do show up to the scene. Yeah, I know it's going to happen.
But Blair and the rest of David's legal team released a statement saying, quote, "Let us be clear. The actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury in this case and no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence."
We assumed he'd fled far away.
After the singer's arrest, neighbors in the Hollywood Hills were surprised to learn David was living nearby.
We never saw anyone like him. We never saw anyone going in or out of his house. We actually assumed no one was living there.
All of our neighbors were kind of on a group chat, and we were like, this was kind of scary that we've been living around the corner from an accused murderer.
One neighbor actually told me that he's relieved that there was an arrest because he said that there have often been parties at this home. I asked if he's heard parties here recently. He said it's an ongoing problem. Either way, on Monday, we're expected to get our first look at David as he's expected in court in person in downtown Los Angeles.
All right. So that was before they brought him in and arrested him for the arraignment. And I think it's interesting that some of the neighbors were like, never saw or heard anything. And then the other neighbors are like, it was parties all the time. I shouldn't get flagged for that. I know it's all over the place, but it will. But it's an easy fix. I just tell them to mute it. Holly weird. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. So let me show you this. This is how crazy this case is. This girl that I'm going to show you, she had to go on social media just because she was like an extra she was more than an extra. She was like in one of his videos as like she was probably portraying Celeste. Like, it's crazy, but I guess she has been hounded just because, it looks like she's associated and maybe supportive of David. So this is a really, where'd it go? There we go. Share this one. Why is it muted? All right, here we go.
I got casted. It was a 12-hour shoot, very low pay, non-union job. I met David's whole family. His whole family was there. Hey everyone, my name is Cassidy Clark. I was in the Here With Me music video when I was 18 years old, and I'm going to talk about it. I submitted for the job via casting networks, and I got casted. It was a 12-hour shoot, very low pay, non-union job. I met David's whole family. His whole family was there because he was a minor at the time. I was 18, he was 17. And when you're a minor working on set, you have to have your one guardian present, but his whole family was there. I met his younger sister, who is probably now around the same age as Celeste would be. And he has a younger brother as well. During the shoot, I played his girlfriend, and that was that. We followed each other on Instagram just for the sake of, oh, you shot with me for 12 hours. We might as well follow each other on Instagram. We honestly didn't really get along that well. I would say I'm pretty outgoing, and we just really didn't click. If anything, I felt like I was kind of bickering with him. But that's besides the point. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've gotten quite a few messages of people asking me if I have anything to do with this, if I know what's going on. And I just wanted to put an end to it. I do not associate with David by any means. I'm an actor. I literally have nothing to do with him. I did it for a job. I did it for a check. I didn't know who David was. I don't follow him on Instagram anymore. I'm going to remove him as a follower. And I think that he deserves even more than what's happening to him right now. He's a monster, and I do not associate with him by any means. I'm not making this video to make this about me. I'm making this video to put an end to my association with David. Like I said, I've been getting countless amount of messages, comments, stuff like that. I know this video is going to get the same thing, but at least I'm saying I don't associate with David, and all justice to Celeste Rivas and her family.
Look at her. She probably was hired to play Celeste. I could see that. Okay, so to clarify more about the timeline here, he killed her on April 23rd, and then he went to, I believe, New York City on the either right away or on the 24th. And then he came back to Los Angeles, and they think he took her body somewhere, probably in that car, in the Tesla. He came back May 5th, and that's when they believe he dismembered her. I do know that they found her DNA in his garage. Mike, good point. What are they going to do about that house? I believe you do have to disclose that stuff. He also had a lookalike who was 19 that hung around him. Oh yeah, the girl. I did talk about that in the past. Jesse Lynn. He would have that girl hang around because she was overage. Yeah, like a decoy. Yeah. Here's some information about what they found with him, the data that I was talking about. This is crazy. Like when I say he had that, pedo gruesome stuff on his phones and everything, 40 terabytes. 40. Ann Taylor had what? 2 terabytes? I mean, it's crazy. These guys do a good job of describing it.
Judge says we've discovered 40 terabytes of on your phone. Bro. Bam, I'm gonna put you in perspective. If you download the Titanic, there's a 3-hour movie. I saw a fact. It was like 20K. So 6 hours. 20K downloads of the Titanic is how much he has.
That's a lot. So much. He's just that sick.
I don't know if you guys saw the new autopsy. The ring finger of Celeste.
The one that said David.
That's literally the one that said David was chopped off.
Yeah, because that was proof that she was with him. So he had to cut it off. Crazy.
Oh my God. But I don't know if you guys know this, but he outed himself. How? Not on his main account, but his second.
About sin and God's forgiveness. I do not understand what I do because I do what I don't want to do and I hate what I do. The evil that I don't want to do, this I keep on doing. Personally, for me, I used to struggle a lot with lying. Lying is the easiest sin to commit. When you come into Christ, you have to continue to accept what you're doing is wrong, and then there comes repentance. After that is turning around and not continuing to dwell in that sin.
Okay, let's talk about David.
Did you see what happened with?
That's a crazy amount of data. Oh, hey, Senor. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Panda Hug. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I had to talk about D4VD. I've been following this case, and it's interesting, and a lot has just happened. So I had to take a day to do this. Gang, gang, Skull. Everybody's coming in. I appreciate you guys. Get over here. So, also, he had a burner account. And he would go on there like, oh, wonder if they'll play that in court. I mean, I don't know if they'll need it, but talking about repentance, and he knows he's doing things he's not supposed to be doing, and oh my goodness. All right, so we're gonna look at some updates now into more of the details. And I want this one.
After actually 2.5 months, we contacted a source connected to the medical examiner. And what we were told was that they could not determine the cause of death, and they may never be able to determine cause of death. In December, that's when they ruled it a homicide. So we now know the time frame. So we're told 2.5 months after her body's discovered that they haven't determined it and may never. And then the next month, they call it a homicide definitively, but the support for that is qualified with the word may. And I found that interesting, but I think that, the defense is going to just grill the medical examiner and the police department and ask, what changed? Why did you have such trouble for 2.5 months? And then a month later, you call it a homicide, but you can't definitively say she was stabbed. So
well, where in the timeline was it when you reported specifically LAPD said we're not even sure a crime was committed? I mean, that was a position of the LAPD.
I'm wondering how they're discussing possible issues with the medical examiner determining things. I think they're talking about all those months and months and months where we didn't know a whole lot, and it was at the grand jury and nobody understood what was going on at the grand jury. But now in these documents that we will hear from in a little bit, this is April 27th. So this is just 3 days ago. So this isn't super old. And for when they recorded this, it's not long ago, but I think they're talking about leading up to where we are at today. I think in the official reports, the documents, it does look like the medical examiner was able to determine things, especially because she had a couple fingers removed. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. The dismemberment is not an accident. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Early on. Yeah, early on,
they said we're not sure a crime was committed. Then you have the inordinate amount of time. By the way, also, kudos to you because you reported and you would not be backed down about the fingers. That was in the coroner's report, that the fingers were what I think the term was waterlogged.
Yeah, they did not. They said our report was wrong.
Trigger warning.
Yes,
trigger warning.
Said the report was wrong. They also said it was an investigative grand jury. Well, they stood up in court. They, meaning Beth, stood up in court and said, not one, not two, 3 grand juries has seen evidence in this case. So all of you people who kept saying investigative grand juries, sorry to tell you that was not, I told you in real time that was nonsense. It's still nonsense. And it will continue to be nonsense, as you will see as this case unfolds. Number 3, the idea that they found and they announced not once, not twice, but 3 times in court, child porn. What was the purpose of the child porn? He's not charged with that. They announced wiretaps. They announced child porn. There was a singular purpose to that. Can you guess what that was?
Dirtying him up.
Of course, because they're trying to push back because the defense did not waive time.
Okay. We're going to listen to this guy, but I don't think I agree with everything he's saying. That's illegal. That's illegal activity. So that's why they're putting that on there. Like, that's not illegal. Like, what's this guy talking about? I mean, I'm sorry, but he is an old white man. I'm sorry, but come on. And plus, I think that's where they're talking about, like, where is he getting that? Where is that coming from? Who's he connected to? Is he associating with, like I was saying, the police detectives wanting to, find more people besides him? It could also be, was he sharing stuff? I mean, there is legality and a reason to why they would be citing that. Like, what is it? And it's more than dirtying him up. Like, what are they talking about? But we're going to listen to everything that's out there. What do you guys think? And thank you. Hello to everybody coming in. Hello. Oh, I can't get my glasses back on because of my hair. There we go. Is the child related to the homicide? She was 14. She was 10 when he met her. I also am not going to be surprised if there are others that get added to this case. I have not heard that yet. What did I hear? Oh, I have not found a clip about this, but where did I hear this? Someone told me that they were wiretapping David Anthony Burke. So who knows what they got on him? That's true, William. Maybe not. It could just be that, and then that would not be illegal. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm just going to like pedo stuff right away, but you're right. It could just be, a consenting adults. Okay, it could. You're right. So, we know, hello, Idaho 4 case, they are going to slander this guy in the public media. I don't know, though. This is different than Brian Kohberger, in my opinion. I mean, yes, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but this is more than just saying he's weird. He has bushy eyebrows. He drove a Tesla. Yeah, he drove a Tesla, and there was a dismembered dead body found in it. They have video surveillance of him moving the car. So when you look at the evidence in this case with David Anthony Burke and then compare it to the evidence in the Idaho 4 case, it looks like they have a ton of evidence in this case. And not only was the body found in his car, but the private detective months ago said he knew who was moving the car. And then I believe in one of these segments that we're going to listen to, they say that David was moving the car. He was moving the car, which I was very surprised at that.
The defense said, we're ready. Get your ducks in order. And who, by the way, as we discussed last week, who was it that's trying to garner more time right now? It's not the defense. It's the prosecution.
Yeah, because, help me out here. If they would have gone to the grand jury and gotten an indictment, there would be no preliminary hearing. So given that they had 3 grand juries, why didn't they just go that route rather than doing what they did, to arrest him and then charge him.
So this part is pure speculation.
So this is the conundrum that I am talking about. And please weigh in if you guys have seen something that explains this better. Hey, Karmic Retribution. Hello, hello. I was watching your video that you did. I got to go back and finish it, but some good finds in there. Oh, talking about the Pete video that you did. Awesome. I did see Trapmore Ross, Senior. Yeah, I will pull that up when I get through the ones that I have marked. I did see him talking about this case, but when we say a grand jury can but I want to say convict, indict a ham sandwich. They had 3 different grand juries and they did not hand down an indictment. I'm wondering if it's because if you can't prove there was a murder, then they can't do an indictment. I'm wondering if that's where the medical examiner was the holdup. And then maybe once the medical examiner's official report came out, they were just like, okay, we don't even need a grand jury anymore. Let's just do this. I don't know. Let's hear how this guy speculates, but he's making a couple points here that it's the prosecution that keeps asking for more time at this point. And then they had an issue with not being able to get an indictment from the grand jury. Yep. Those secret grand juries, Twiz. Hey, Twiz.
I don't think well, let me break this up. It's not pure speculation. Nobody has definitively given an explanation for this because, as I told you last episode, the LAPD called the DA's bluff. I don't care what the DA says about them being in lockstep. That's nonsense.
Yeah, they quadrupled down on me on that and said you were wrong.
Correct. And they've only got one problem. If that was wrong, what was the explanation? Remember, you and I talked offline about what is the legal strategy for having the LAPD arrest somebody without a warrant or without a criminal complaint or an indictment.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I asked that 3 times and they would not tell me.
Of course.
Go on.
Because there isn't,
See, you would think that this would be a clear-cut case, but I don't understand what is going on here. The grand jury did not hand down an indictment. So do they have like a probable cause that they went out? So then I don't know. So then they need to have a criminal complaint. I'm not following this lingo. But they went out and arrested David Anthony Burke, brought him in front of a judge. They had an arraignment, so I'm assuming they provided evidence, and then he's arrested. And they're going to have a preliminary. So then a preliminary hearing is set for April 29th. So I guess we will find out what happens at the preliminary hearing. Grand jury can recommend an indictment. Yeah, they usually say it's a true bill or it's not a true bill. Like those are their options. There's no gray area. It's either like a yes or a no when you're on a grand jury. All right, let me skip to that part then. Jessie Lynn, thank you for that. So let me get to this next one.
Let's get you caught up to speed on our top.
All right. So I am going to go to, yep, you're seeing it. I believe this is yesterday, and I believe this is an update from the court.
Let's get you caught up to speed on our top stories today. Beginning with this, 2 high-profile murder cases go before judges today. Nick Reiner, accused of stabbing his parents to death, and singer David, accused of murdering Celeste Rivas Hernandez. A couple of really grim stories. Fox Local's Christina Gonzalez is live at the Criminal Courts building in downtown LA with the very latest on both cases this afternoon. Christina, a really busy day.
Oh, Marla, I just literally ran out of the David courtroom. And I'm going to warn everybody, because what's happened today, we did not expect. They're setting a preliminary hearing for May 26th. And what happened today, the big deal today, was that there was actually an argument between the defense and prosecutors, because the prosecutors filed what they believe is their case to be presented at the preliminary hearing. Now, at that point, the defense stood up and said, we don't want the public to hear this. They tried to seal it because it is very, very disturbing. I have been able to obtain this. The judge agreed that it does not have to be sealed, so we, the media, can get it and present it to the people who you listening. But I want to warn you before I read some of these elements, this is disturbing stuff. And it's a good reason why they wanted it sealed, the defense. Let me show you some video, but please be aware, I'm going to try to be as tasteful as I can. But in essence, what the prosecution is saying.
Okay. Reading your comments. She's going to go over the charges. I believe it's in this clip, and like how long, like some of them are like minimum 10 years, up to 10 years. The murder charge is life. He could face the death penalty because of that. I see you guys talking about Jeff. It is very complicated to unblock. I didn't know that. I can't figure it out. So sorry about that. Stoner Podcast Media, hello. I saw your little arrows of going up, but I didn't see what you were. Do I have the docs? You can send them to me. Oh my God, I would love that. I have not tried to get to the court place yet or the court site to get them. So if you could point me in that direction too, I wasn't sure where the court site is to get these documents. I would appreciate that. Thank you. Twiz, he's here. He's always here. He's always here.
Is that David Burke met Celeste Rivas when she was 11 years old and he was 18. They started dating when she was 13. He was 18, and they started a sexual relationship. Now, they believed her parents found out, took her cell phone away because she kept on running away from him. And we've heard about this before. But he actually bought her a cell phone at her junior high school and actually, had it delivered to her. Now, they did have a sexual relationship for quite some time. She ran away. But here is, and I warn you, this is where it gets really crazy. According to the prosecution, the night before they believe she was killed, April 23rd, the night of the 22nd, there was a big fight, and they went back and forth with text messages. She was upset because he was seeing other girls, and she was threatening in those text messages to disclose information about him that would get him in trouble and, quote, ruin his career. So
see, that's the part that I knew that's where this was going to go. She threatened him and it would have ruined his career, which, stupid decisions people make because your career's ruined anyways.
Actually gets an Uber for her, according to prosecutors, and has her delivered to his home that day, April 23rd, to come to the house. He pays the Uber to drop her off, and according to them, that is when he kills her. They say he stabbed her to death, and he actually waited according to this complaint, until she quote unquote bled out. Then he took her phone, traveled to Santa Barbara, and kept on calling, texting her, saying, "Where are you? Where are you?" As her body is sitting in her house, again, according to prosecutors. I want to underline that David has declared himself not guilty, okay, of all this already in court, of any charges or whatever may happen. So he goes to Santa Barbara, and that's where, according to the complaint, investigators actually found her ID and some of her stuff. Then he returns home.
Oh my gosh. So they're tracking him through his cell phone device. He's totally like covering up, like he didn't just kill her. He's somewhere like, "Where are you? Where are you?" Like trying to create like an alibi, right? Trying to cover his tracks with an alibi. Crazy. I saw one of your comments I wanted to read. Oh, William Tardy. Yeah, like there's other ways to make her go away, right? It could, he paid, it looks like he paid everybody else off. Why not pay her off?
And get ready for this. He starts ordering on Amazon the tools that they say he used to dismember her body, including, and I kid you not, a burn cage and shovels and all kinds of things. Has the stuff delivered. And according to them, because they served a search warrant in his garage, this is where he supposedly did this, he proceeded to dismember her body. Specifically, Jaring is taking away her pinky finger because his name was tattooed on it. Again, these are allegations by the prosecution. He has pled not guilty, and this is the case they plan to present at the preliminary hearing on May 26th.
Okay, so at the preliminary hearing, they will present all of their evidence. Yeah, I'm not new to this case. I've been following it since it dropped, and we knew about the burn cage, we knew about the chainsaw, all that stuff. The private investigator who saw that stuff in the house, he was the first one who had access to the house to go in there and see it. He made it seem like they were still in the box. Now, did he just say that because they didn't want to let on that they were onto him? Because now they're clearly saying that that's what was used, right? Not the burn cage. I don't think. Doesn't look like the burn cage was used, but the other stuff. Also, now that I do think they said 2 fingers were missing, and I had only in the past heard about the tattoo, the SHHH. They had matching tattoos. I did not know she had his name actually on one of them. There's pictures of the box. Amazon just keeps showing up in these cases.
They say that they have a
I bet they actually have the receipt, though, in this case. Do you think they probably actually have the order and the receipt in this case?
biological evidence, her DNA in the garage, in items left over from the pool, that kind of thing. Now,
so that's the other thing. He ordered a blow-up kiddie pool, and that's what he used to put her in when he did the dismembering. And if you remember the medical examiner's report, they discussed that she had like blue material found in some of her wounds, like on her body. And now we know it's probably from the kiddie pool. Why did you say, thank God you said kiddie pool? Why? What did you think I was going to say? Oh, yes, he ordered a shovel. Yep, he did order a shovel. Do you think they're going to show more than clicks and views and recommendations on Amazon? Oh, Skull.
Defense wanted all this squashed because they said this is prejudicial to him. Obviously, the prosecution in court was saying, of course it's prejudicial. It's our case against them. The judge decided, we do not seal this from the public. The defense said, well, how are you not going to taint the jury pool? And what the judge said is, LA is big enough, the jury pool's big enough, and they have enough cases like this that by the time we get to a trial, which probably will be in a few years, the jury pool will be able to find people who are not biased by this. Now,
so that's interesting about the bias. I'm glad the judge didn't seal it. You know, facts are facts. Yeah, thank you, judge. And I also love that he's like, we'll be able to find a jury pool, you know, it'll be fine. We'll be able, you know, none of the shenanigans, no Idaho shenanigans going on in LA, right? Skull, you like that? Shout out LA.
it goes on. I mean, it is, I'm still reading through this paperwork, and I'm going to have a lot more at 5:00. But, you know, supposedly he drove the Tesla and purposely he left her and the Tesla in the locations so that her body would decompose, according to prosecutors, thinking that it would be much more difficult for them to tie her to him. It's a really gruesome, really disturbing. It's, you know, I'm just giving you the highlights.
Right.
It's disturbing. And he was in court. Obviously, this was not read in court today, but he looks scared. He looks very alert. He's working with his attorneys. He has 3 female attorneys, very good attorneys. The prosecution also has a female attorney. So it's all women around this little guy. He's tiny. It amazes me how little he is. He's a very small framed man. He was very alert, but he looks scared. And if this is what the prosecution says they can prove in their preliminary hearing, this is scary for them. The May 26th, they wanted, you know, the defense had initially said, hey, let's do it Friday. And the prosecution called them on it, said, okay, let's do it Friday, but Friday's May Day. And they're expecting protests. The judge was saying, we're going to have protests downtown. Do you really want to do this? And then the defense, when they...
Did you guys know that? My son was a political science major in college, and he learned all about the history of May Day. Started out as like a labor union workers' day. That's really what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a laborers, like union labor workers' day. And it's also the day where Chicago, I believe, had that massive like riot over workers' rights. But we like to bury that stuff in the United States because God forbid the people like fight for the working man. Right? It's not a communist movement. It is. They want you to think that because they don't want us to stand up for rights. So if anybody honors the traditional May Day, that's what it is about. It is about workers not being taken advantage of, paid fair labor, which I don't think people are paid fair labor in this country. So that's my little 2 cents on that.
They said they had just filed this motion. He said, wait a minute. No, we need some time to go over some evidence, and, you know, they're still getting stuff. So they decided on May 26th. So that is when we will probably get more of this information. And it looks like a very difficult case and a disturbing case against this young man. But again, he has pled not guilty. He has good attorneys, and they say they intend to prove that he didn't do this. So we'll have to see what happens. In the Nick Reiner case, they actually postponed their preliminary. They didn't even set a preliminary hearing. They decided that there's so much information that they still have to go through that they will meet again in September to decide when they can have a preliminary hearing. So that's going to be a while on that. The coroner doesn't even have a full report to the prosecution on that. So this is my latest update on these.
Well, that's a big
cases
update,
today here in
Christina.
criminal courts.
Oh, that was the Reiner case she was talking about, right? I zoned out for a second. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. The preliminary hearing
We are learning
for
some more.
the D4VD case is April 29th. April 29th will be the preliminary hearing. Is this News Nation? Yes, it is. All right, this should be even more. This is more recent information.
Disturbing, and I will just say incredibly gruesome details about the murder case against the singer David tonight. And this is thanks to a brief that was filed by Los Angeles Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman in connection with a status hearing earlier today. And I will warn you right now, some of what you're about to hear is very graphic. According to prosecutors, David, real name David Anthony Burke, allegedly used a chainsaw to dismember the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez after murdering her. He then allegedly amputated 2 fingers on her hand that could have linked him to the teen runaway, one that apparently had a tattoo of his name. Again, it's horrifying to hear. This 9-page brief that was obtained by TMZ lays out the evidence that Silverman planned to present at a preliminary hearing that was set for Friday, although today the defense said there was just too much discovery to go through by Friday, so the judge pushed that hearing back almost a month to May 26th. Again, that's where the prosecution wants to present enough evidence to say they can move forward with the case. Now, David was charged with first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a minor, mutilating human remains earlier this month after the LAPD stormed this ritzy Hollywood Hills home that he'd been staying at and arrested him. He's pleaded not guilty to all the charges. But the 21-year-old singer was at the top of everyone's suspect list after Celeste's badly decomposed body was found in the trunk of a Tesla reportedly registered to him last September. And in that brief that I mentioned before, prosecutors also claim they had evidence from surveillance videos and other sources that allegedly showed David was the last person to drive that car on July 29th. This is about a month before Celeste's body was found. Now, that could leave open the possibility that someone else moved the car afterwards. We're not entirely sure. But last week, Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman said that David killed Celeste because she threatened to expose the fact that he had been sexually abusing her, which could have been devastating for his music career. I mean, David was reportedly dropped from his label. And the brief also contains more information about that alleged relationship, including the allegation that Celeste was apparently just 11 years old when the pair met.
Ugh. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I am looking for the documents. I will pull them up. Is it the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office? Is that where I am? I want the court documents. Are these coming from the district attorney's office, the court docs, or is there a court? Oh, wait, what is this? I got a 9-page. I think I got it. The People's Brief. I think I got it. I thought it was more pages than that. So I'll pull this up after. It says it's the preliminary brief. So awesome. We'll look at that when this is over. I found it. Thank you, Stoner Podcast. Thank you. I will check out your live on this also, you guys. Stoner, drop your link in case anybody comes in that can give you a follow and watch that video.
And just 13 when they allegedly started this sexual relationship. And as for today, the singer was in court. He was clean shaven, quiet in court this afternoon, saying just 2 words, yes, ma'am, when asked if he agreed to the new date. And that glow up is thanks to the efforts of his attorneys, who asked the judge if their client could get a haircut, some dress clothes ahead of court. The judge agreed to the haircut, said no to the new duds, which is why David was wearing an orange prison jumpsuit today. And we can expect to see him back in court May 12th for a status hearing. But
he looks way different to me. What do you guys think? Like, I think he is like, did he really think he was going to get away with this? I'm going to be curious to see if they do. I'm sure they'll do a psychological evaluation on him, but there is video footage. He did his own documentary. I've told you guys this before. He has his own documentary on YouTube. And you can't show anything from his channel because you'll get like copyrighted or whatever. But he talked about almost having this like alter ego. That is exactly how he described it, having an alter ego. Or will they try to twist that into saying he has like a split personality? Because he literally described it like, my alter ego will do these bad things and then I have to like solve the crime. Like, was he that much of a was this that much of a premeditation that he set this up all that time ago? Because I mean, it could be because if she was 14, we're talking like a 3 to 4 year period where he was with Celeste. Senor is saying that's the MPD Psycho anime. He used it as a guideline. Yeah, I showed that on my last live, which I had to cut out after I showed it, but I show these things and then it got cut out. Hey, Bubbly. Hey, Bubbly. Bubbly, I got a question for you. Do you have any information on that Christian Gonzalez or Gonzales or anything like that? Gonsales. Oh, and the other thing, Bubbly, if you are still here and listening, I'm taking an Idaho 4 break for a minute, you guys. And I've talked about this before, but way back in 2022 or early 2023, someone over on TikTok put out a video. We watched it in a TikTok live, and I'm assuming it must have been the Linda Lane footage, but it's not on there anymore. So I don't know where it was from. And it was this video that was looking at a parking lot off of you couldn't see the apartment. It was facing away from the apartments, just like Linda Lane, but you could hear, and it was like daylight. It was like daybreak. So like daybreak was just about happening. You could just start to hear the birds maybe chirping, and you hear this guy come out of an apartment onto a balcony, and he's singing this like really creepy, like it was a real like song that I recognized that just had like that creepy vibe. And I've never seen it again. No, I don't have it. I keep going back to look at like the TikTokers that like I followed back then to see if I can find it, and I can't. So anybody who knows what I'm talking about, trying to find that. Did Bubbly answer me about? Oh, she might have left. I'll have to message her. Did Demetrius own a studio? Anyways, I posted about that in my Discord asking for help for that. I just thought it would be telling because part of me is thinking it wasn't Linda Lane. So if it wasn't Linda Lane, then is there another apartment complex around 1122 that had video? That now we can't see. So I was just thinking about that. All right, on with D4VD.
Joining me now to dive into all this, forensic death investigator from Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan, the host of Body Bags, missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher, who's been on this story from the very beginning. Great to have you both here. Steve, I'm going to start with you. So everybody knows you were hired by the owner of the home.
I love Steve Fisher. Joe Scott Morgan, not so much, but we will hear.
David was reportedly renting. You were hired to investigate. You talked about a chainsaw months ago. You talked about finding a chainsaw months ago. Your reaction to this, does this confirm everything that you couldn't actually reveal at the time? Talk to us about it.
Wait a minute, Skull. Are you saying, but I knew Bubbly would have it. Are you serious, Skull? If you can find me that, oh my God. Oh my God. So, Senor, how do you know the Whites had a camera? What all do you have about that? Kane, did I scream out your name yet? Kane! Oh, that was another video that came out. I said there's like so much. It's exciting that so much is coming out in the Idaho 4 case. The videos, the body cams, that Logan over on Bronx Tales showed yesterday. Oh my God. Especially the Emma and Demetrius ones. Anytime I see footage of them, it's like fascinating because that little Emma, she's a little sneak. I'm going to message you, Skull. Oh, okay. You guys are talking about something else. Don't tease me like that. Don't tease me like that.
Yeah, it confirms some of it. We didn't know everything. Let's be honest about that. But, we did find a chainsaw. We found a burn cage, and we knew that they were ordered in the name of this Victoria Mendez. We disclosed that it was, in a fake name. And but we didn't know if that was a real person or not. However, all these things, and there was more things that were delivered to the house in that name, and we couldn't get past the chainsaw or the burn cage. Just there was no reasonable use to have it there. And now we find out that it does appear like, they played a role.
Joseph, I don't know I really don't know the best way to ask this, but can you explain what dismembering somebody with a chainsaw actually entails, cutting off someone's fingers? Because we now have to believe, according to prosecutors, if these allegations are true, that a 20-year-old did this.
Yeah, I can break it down for you very succinctly. The fact that the RPMs that a chainsaw.
That's a good question, William. Where do you get a burn cage? I mean, I'm sure Amazon, right? But he ordered a burn cage. He ordered when I first heard it described, they said like equipment that could like be used for dismembering. So obviously the chainsaw. He ordered body bags, like literal official like body bags, and also some other types. There was another type of bags that he ordered.
Generates, which are thousands. It moves at a very high clip. And with that, chainsaw has teeth on it. It's not teeth like a regular handsaw.
It's a good one, Stoner. I think Emma, man, she knows to like shut up. If you guys haven't seen, there's another video of her in the police station, and she obviously has something stashed in her pants, and she like gets it out on camera, but it's hidden, and I don't think they ever found it. I mean, I never heard anything about that. Yeah, that's why I said she's a little sneak. Now, Demetrius, on the other hand, he was like, he talks too much. Heavy duty laundry bags. Thanks, Mike. I was going to say laundry bags, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's right or not. You go to the Home Depot and pay cash for that stuff. She was. My daughter was like, you got to cover the David case. You got to cover the David case. And I don't know why I'm interested in it. I want to hear all the details about what happens. But when there's a difference between hearing a case to me like this, where they're like, we have you on video moving your car. We know that you bought a chainsaw. Her blood is in your garage. We have your cell phone data, and we have her on video entering your house and never leaving. I mean, I could go on and on and on with the evidence they have against David Anthony Burke. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, that seems like a pretty solid case, right? But then that's why, I mean, most of us, all of us probably are so fascinated with the Idaho case because that's the kind of information we're looking for. And then when you don't see it, you're like, what's going on? I need to clip that because that's why we keep questioning this case. The gig seems to be up for sure.
I've had a couple of cases involving chainsaws over the course of my career. And I'll just put it to you this way, the deposition of tissue and blood, because with a regular handsaw, you would just you might get a little tissue, you're gonna have a lot of blood. This is going to sling actual tissue everywhere. And so the idea that this could be cleaned up completely, there's no way under God's green heaven that you're going to be able to clean up every bit of tissue deposition that's there. You might think you've gotten it, but once the cops get in there and they have enough time, they're going to collect. And that goes back to this idea that they've identified DNA. And they're saying that it is her DNA.
And coupled with the pieces from the pool, right? The pool mat that allegedly he used to wrap her up?
Well, yeah, and they're talking about a kiddie pool that was there that facilitated this. And if you read that TMZ bit that they had, they're talking about he used this to guard the flow of blood. So, yeah, and if it is blue, they've got plastic embedded into these insults onto her body. And so it would be a matter of the criminalist, which also has indicated that they're examining these pieces. They've been able to tie back these fragments, which is very powerful stuff.
Steve, so much was made about this alleged relationship. You know, the brief says that Celeste was 11 years old when they first met, 13 years old when this sexual relationship began, that there was text messages between the two talking about Plan B, pregnancy, naked photos of Celeste, of her engaging in sexual activity. Is this in line with what you found?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, it's so sad. I mean, this girl, she'd been a teenager for 1 year, you know, and it's so hard to get past, like, how he could do how anybody could do this to anybody and ruin their life. But, you know, I want to say something real quick because I was going to call Joseph off the show too before. You know, we're really confused about this. What happened to this tissue and this blood marrow from the chainsaw? Because they make it sound like there was trace amounts found, and they didn't really turn the house into a crime scene. They didn't hold it long when they did the search warrant. So it's really confusing us. It seems like a chainsaw would have absolutely created a horrific scene, but they don't speak about that. Well, so I still feel like there's a piece we're not getting.
About a piece we're not getting to this. We've always wondered if the allegations are true, did he have help? The brief claimed that David was the last to drive the Tesla.
I mean, just hearing this part, to me, it seems like they're saying the crime scene is the garage. So like if it's like kept to the garage, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Steve Fisher there, I thought he said that the chainsaw looked not used. So that's interesting.
In late July, before Celeste's body was found, it didn't confirm, as far as I read, that doesn't mean someone else may have moved it. You tell me if I'm looking at it the wrong way. And then also they made the allegation that David lied to people about the smell in the trunk. So it seemed when I was reading this, it kind of moved away from the idea of him working with anyone else.
I mean, I guess it depends the way you read it. I still go back to the DA's statement that they're not taking off the table. Other people couldn't still be charged in this thing. I do think there was help. As far as the Tesla goes, the surveillance we have, I've always said that they probably have more surveillance than us. Surveillance we have, I do not believe that that's David is a light-skinned, long-haired person driving the car. I don't know what they have.
Oh, so the surveillance he saw, it is not David moving the Tesla. So there is somebody else. Light-skinned, long hair. Anybody think they know who that might be? I wish he would say female or male, or maybe he couldn't tell. Light-skinned, long hair. That's interesting. Neo doesn't have long hair though, right? Didn't have long hair. And yeah, maybe. I would think, Neo and David seemed like tight at the hip, right? Like super, super close. Although Neo seems like he's kind of flipped on him though, right? And made it seem, I think, on his social media that he like got cleared from the grand jury or something like that. And Neo also said he had receipts. So, did they maybe use him to like flip on David? I don't know.
After that time, if David went to the car or something.
Or if they knew what was in the car. Because look, that's another part. They talk about the body being in the car for quite some time. I still think it's a little confusing about where the remains were when they were transported to the car. I mean, do you have a better idea?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he stored them in the car. We heard from neighbors that the car started moving around the neighborhood starting in May. But listen, it was nearby, and it was. Listen, I'm in search and rescue. I've dealt with a lot of deceased bodies. There's a very distinct smell that, especially if it was in the garage for a while. And that's where the other Tesla was being parked. It was going in and out of it. It was not being parked on the street, and they had like an arcade set up down there. I don't know how these people didn't know.
Look, this is an important day, right? I mean, it wasn't a preliminary hearing, but this document, 9 pages, provided so much information that we were all waiting for. We will see what happens next. Steve Fisher, Joseph Scott Morgan, thank you both for coming on to talk about the details of what is truly one of
Okay, I'm going to pull up the preliminary brief that was released and see what that says. What are you guys talking about? Neo is a groupie who hung out with David. Yeah. I thought they were almost like painting the picture like they were maybe like super close. His brother snitched. Neo is the guy. I wish I still had those photos. Neo was a friend, basically a friend that hung out with David. But I think on one of the last lives I did about this case, there was a photo that had come out, and they thought it was in David's house. They were sitting around a huge dining room table. The table was just like cluttered with alcohol and possibly a purse, a phone, just all kinds of stuff. You can't see Celeste, but they were analyzing the photo to see if there was evidence that they could put Celeste there. And in the photo, you can see Neo and you can see David. And it looks like, I think they were saying it was Celeste's phone that was on the table. Neo might have had, oh yeah, he cut his hair. He might have had longer hair back in the day. Maybe. Yeah, they're going to go after the bigger people. I could see that too if he didn't participate in anything, but he knows stuff, I could see maybe giving immunity or whatever for that. If he did something, I don't know if I would want someone to get immunity, right? Right? Okay, let's look at this. Nathan Hochman, District Attorney of Los Angeles. Oh, I did have their presser that they did too. I forgot about that. So let me see. This was dated April 29th. They have background facts. The dismembered body of 14-year-old Celeste was discovered in the front trunk of defendant's Tesla Model X on September 8th. It had been towed 3 days prior. I thought they found it they didn't find it the same day they towed it. Oh my God. Which was parked approximately 400 feet from the defendant's home. That's crazy. Oh, that's not what I want. It was parked 400 feet from the defendant's home. We get the address. Oh, you guys, they're not redacting. They're not redacting addresses. Surveillance video and other evidence confirmed defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29th before he left Los Angeles on a concert tour. Ew. If they're, oh my God. Wait a minute. I'm thinking this through. So he was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29th. They're saying she died April 23rd, 2025. And he was still driving the car. Oh my God. On September 8th, 2025, the manager of the tow yard where the Tesla had been impounded noted the strong smell of decay and the presence of flies coming from the vehicle. That's disgusting. They called the police. They figured out who it was registered to. At the tow yard, LAPD detectives opened the Tesla's front storage compartment and they observed the black cadaver bag. Ew, it was covered in insects. Graphic, you guys. Graphic. All right. I am going to read these gruesome details. They're disgusting. But maybe we should witness the horrificness of the crime so that when we know, we know what we're dealing with here. Where's my thing? There it is. Okay. Trigger warning, sensitive content. All right. Sounds like most of you already read this already anyways. Inside the bag, they discovered a severely decomposed head and torso. A plastic garbage bag beneath the black cadaver bag contained the dismembered arms and legs. However, the victim's ring and pinky fingers had been amputated and were, oh my God. What did he do with them? They're not found. Oh. Wow. If this ends up in a plea deal, do you think he should have to allocute to where those are? You come from an era where nothing shocks you. I know. It's still like disgusting to see. Thanks, Seahawks fan. I appreciate you. If this comes to a plea deal, which it might, he should have to allocute to where that is. On September 16th, the medical examiner's department positively identified the body from dental records. So she was found on September 8th. They identified her on the 16th. Pursuant to their investigation, LAPD robbery homicide detectives determined the victim and defendant met in January of 2022 when she was 11 years old. So court documents are saying 11. They began a sexual relationship in November of 2023. So 11 months. Wait, when she was 13. Oh, yeah, I skipped a whole year. Okay. So he waited until, so he's 18 and she's 13. Detectives learned the victim had been reported missing to the Riverside County Sheriff Department by her family, who lived in Lake Elsinore, February and April. So her parents reported twice, April 24. What is let me see. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department, that's what RCSD is. They telephone contacted the defendant. So they called her on February 17th, 24, after they identified a phone number in the victim's phone records that belonged to him. Ooh, so she's missing. They look at her phone records and they find his number, so they call him. During the call, the defendant claimed he had spoken to the victim last on February 13th or 14th, but stated he was unaware she was a minor and that she had been reported missing. So she could have been with him. He just said she wasn't. And this is going to be huge in court because he cannot play the card after this phone call. After this phone call on February 17th, 2024, he can't say, I didn't know she was a minor. He's not going to be able to say that. This case could be death penalty. It could be the death penalty, which I was surprised California has the death penalty. Right, especially because of the special circumstances. Yeah. I think it's appropriate in this case. I do. Okay, so the sheriffs advised him that LA Sheriff's Department would be coming to his home. Why would they give him a heads up? On that day, defendant was living at 804 Doheny Place in West Hollywood. There's an address for you, Skull, if you're still listening. What does the R stand for? Riverside. The Riverside sheriffs requested that the Los Angeles sheriffs conduct a welfare check at David's home. The Los Angeles sheriff's deputies went to the defendant's home that night at 8:15 p.m. and informed him the victim was a 13-year-old runaway. David claimed he was unaware she was a minor and he had only met the victim once in person in November of 2023. Boy, is he lying. There's so much video footage of him and her together. Like, I don't see a way he's going to be able to defend against that. However, the defendant showed deputies a yearbook photo of the victim he had on his cell phone. However, the victim showed the deputies a yearbook photo he had of the victim. Although he claimed to be unaware of where the victim was at the time, she returned home 2 days later. Despite being informed by law enforcement the victim was only 13, the defendant continued to pursue him. After the victim returned home in February of 24, her parents took her cell phone away. The defendant drove to Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student in the victim's class $1,000 to give the victim a cell phone so they could stay in contact. Throughout 2024, the victim spent a significant amount of time with the defendant, including summer weekends at his home in Hollywood Hills. I mean, come on, didn't you guys used to do the old, I'm staying at so-and-so's house, and then we would tell her parents, we're staying at so-and-so's house, and then no one would know where we were. That was the Gen X way. That was the Gen X way. Hey, Juror 13. California did give the death penalty to the Manson clan, and then it converted it. Yeah. It does sound like he's screwed. I like seeing a case that seems like it has pretty solid evidence. Yes, his one song pretty much acts out this happening. It's crazy. He has a song called Celeste. He has a lot of songs that are very morbid. Like that was his whole thing. His most famous song is called Romantic Homicide. Before they could track us down, right, Jenna? So thankful to live before cell phones. Okay. So this is crazy too. So she spent weekends at his home in the Hollywood Hills. Now, I could see getting away as a teenager, like saying you're at someone's house for the weekend. But then she was traveling with him to Vegas, London, and Texas to meet his family knew. Oh my God. No wonder the family didn't want to go testify at the grand jury. Wow. That's crazy. His family met her. That's crazy. Text exchanges between the victim and the defendant contain references to sex. Oh my God. Pregnancy. Oh my goodness. Abortion and use of the Plan B emergent. Wow. There's also explicit photographs. Oh my God. Oh my God. In November 2024, defendant and the victim broke up. November 24. Although they continued to communicate and text messages suggest they also continued to have sexual relations. So this looks like it would be the start of her starting to get, were other girls coming into the picture at this time? Right, Twiz, right. April 23rd, 2025 is the likely date of the victim's death. When all her cellular activity ceased. The night prior, April 22nd, the defendant and the victim engaged in a lengthy argument described in detail in their text messages. The messages reveal the victim's jealousy, I knew it, over the defendant's relationships with other women. Were they women? Were they really women? Like, in this case, language, words matter. Were they really women? As the defendant led her to believe they had a future together. Oh boy. She became extremely upset and threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with the defendant to end his career and destroy his life. The defendant's first studio album was due to be released April 25th. I mean, I could see how this would like completely freak him out because they're having this argument on April 22nd, 2025, and his album's coming out April 25th. Not that I'm defending him. I'm just saying I can see why this was just a critical point for this to happen. He had an emerging multi-million-dollar career already in progress. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have done what he did. Just think if he would have never been having sexual relationships with a 13-year-old. If he could have just focused on his music and dated people his own age, he'd be living life right now. He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable. At approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23rd, the defendant sent an Uber to transport the victim from her Lake Elsinore home to his residence. I see all of you saying like her parents knew. I mean, it looks like it if they're sending stuff to her residence, but I don't know. I'm always thinking, what if her parents aren't home? Like, I don't know. I don't know the situation. They communicated before and during her Uber ride, which dropped her off at the defendant's Hollywood Hills home around 10:10 p.m. Man, that's a long ride. At approximately 10:30, the defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. So this is why they're saying he killed her in 20 minutes. The people contend this was part of the defendant's premeditated plan to cover up the murder as she was already dead by this time. Yeah, I have no doubt you guys have seen interviews I haven't seen. Her brother interviewed when this all started that David would pick her up from their house for dates, like the movies and stuff. Did it seem like only the brother knew that? Or did it seem like, did he say the parents gave permission? I'm not trying to defend the parents so hardcore, but sometimes siblings keep secrets for each other. The people contend this was part of defendant's premeditated. I read that part. So knowing he had to silence the victim before she ruined his music career, as she had threatened, very soon after her arrival at his home, the defendant stabbed the victim to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out. Oh my God. At no time did he call law enforcement or 911 or take her to an emergency room to attempt to save her life. Despite knowing she was dead and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show that the defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. In fact, the defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. Oh gosh, is that where her fingers are? At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, he drove away from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone asking where she was. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense within a very short timeline after the victim's vicious murder. The defendant drove his Tesla north on 101 freeway to San Marcos Pass Road, State Route 154 near Lake Cachuma in Santa Barbara County. He returned home early the following morning before going to a radio. Just go to a radio interview for the release of the album that week. He sent 2 additional texts to the victim's phone that day, which obviously went unanswered because she was already dead. After April 26th, the defendant never attempted to contact her again. Tellingly, the defendant subsequently purchased tools. Here we go. To carry out his plot to dismember and dispose of the victim's body. On April 24th, the defendant ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home. And Postmates is the delivery company. On May 1st, the defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws to his home. Ooh, that's interesting. Why 2? Did he have help with that part? I think I just read in this document, Jessie Lynn, that they reported her missing twice. February and here I can look. It was right here. Where was it? Right here. Nope. Where'd I read it at? Did I read it wrong? Anybody else have sinuses that are like so flaring up right now? Like I am. It's really been bothering me the past couple days. I know it's above this. Oh, here it is. Okay. Detectives learned the victim had been reported missing to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department by her family in February and April. So that's 2 different times that the family reported her missing, according to this document. Okay. All right. So we're back to the 2 chainsaws from Amazon. On May 5th, the defendant ordered an Amazon, subsequently delivered a body bag, heavy duty laundry bags, and a blue inflatable pool to his home. So we got Amazon in the case. He made these purchases under the fake name Victoria Mendez. Man, we could make some comparisons to the Idaho 4 case. We got fake names. We got Erica over there. We've got what's the Fernandez, Brittany Fernandez, and then we got over here, we got Victoria Mendez. We got Amazon. On May 8th, 2025, defendant returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County, leaving his home around 11:30 p.m. He returned to the area again on May 31st. This is an isolated site off State Route 154. Where the victim's identification was subsequently discovered in January 2026. Okay, so he returned to this area in Santa Barbara where he was, they think, getting rid of evidence. So did he dismember her and then go to this place again? So somewhere in Santa Barbara County, there's probably her stuff that he was trying to get rid of. It's an isolated site off of State Route 154 where the victim's identification was subsequently discovered. So like they found her ID. Additionally, on July 7th, the defendant ordered, here we go, Amazon again, a burn cage to his home. Moreover, the defendant took horrifying measures to destroy and discard the victim's body. After placing her body into the blue inflatable pool to prevent her blood from spilling onto his garage floor, the defendant used a chainsaw and perhaps other tools. I'm just going to say to dismember her, and then those small blue plastic fragments were found in her wounds. An expert was able to make a physical match from the blue fragments to the blue inflatable pool. And then we've got her left pinky or left ring finger and pinky finger. Oh my God, you guys, they have not been recovered. Ay, 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 ay. The defendant then placed her other parts. Okay. For several weeks or possibly months, the body was left in the Tesla. He lied to his friends, his business associates, and others who noticed the strong smell. I wonder how he tried to explain it. I got to tell you guys, and I'm going to come over to the chat and see what you guys are saying. When I was in high school, I worked for a caterer, and I would have to, one time I had to take pans of roast beef, and I put it in the trunk of my car and drive it to, we were like catering at a golf course or something. And the juice spilled all over the inside of my car, and I did not get it cleaned right away. And it smelled like a dead animal was in my car. It was horrific. I don't know. I'm going to keep reading because I didn't think that he used the burn cage. I think he just planned on it, possibly, right? I'm just going to use a burn cage in my house and nobody will notice. They're not going to know. I need to play that sound. I need to get that sound effect. Nobody knows. That's one thing that I usually can get away with on here is those sounds, those TikTok sounds. They're not going to know. Nobody's going to know. Broccoli's the worst smell? I don't know, man. Rotten roast beef juice. That was bad. That was really bad. Okay. Couple more pages. Before leaving on his concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla. So he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home. So this is powerful. They're saying he did all this. LAPD served a search warrant at the defendant's home. There's the address. I love how they're not redacting anything in here. I guess it's a court document, though. After the victim was identified by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner on September 16th, inside the garage, detectives discovered evidence consistent with the dismemberment of the victim's body in the inflatable pool, which contained multiple linear cuts. He probably cut into the floor, don't you think? Several biological samples tested positive for blood were collected within the garage. DNA analysis determined that various samples matched the victim's unique genetic profile. On December 9th, the medical examiner ruled the victim's death a homicide by 2 penetrating injuries to the torso. On January 17th, the victim's passport card was found by a Caltrans worker. Oh, so like a transportation department guy found the passport. You guys, that happened to me. I have so many personal stories. I got mugged one time in downtown Cleveland when I was in college. And they took my purse, which thankfully had nothing in it. No money, no credit cards. They got earrings, lipstick, and my ID, like my IDs. But I'm not kidding you. Probably 5 years later, my driver's license was mailed to me. So I think they found it in a dump or something. Crazy. It's crazy. My mom was like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing." All right. So then they list the evidence. The description of photographs depicting the victim nude as well as while she was engaged. Oh my God. They have photos of them. Oh my God. They have photos of them. So they have photos of CCM material of David and Celeste. Okay. We'll just say that. They have numerous text messages between the two of them describing all the intimate details that I read before. Messages about her complaining that all we do is have sexual relationships and just hang out, and she wants more. She wants to do more with him. They have the defendant's cellular activity and communications from his iPhone and his Tesla. We know how those Teslas are. So they have all of his activities from April 22nd to April 24th. And they know he went to Santa Barbara in the middle of the night after she went to his home. They have surveillance video of the defendant driving his Tesla for the last time and parking the vehicle. They have DNA evidence from the garage. They have the Amazon purchases and deliveries. They have the Postmates delivery from of the shovel. They have the Uber receipts showing that he sent the Uber to her house. They have evidence that, you know, he has a lucrative career. And they have all the text messages. All right. Then their conclusion. And that's it, right? Yep. There we go. I keep removing myself instead of the document. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The other thing that I did hear about David Anthony Burke is that after she was missing, like, and the neighbors referred to that he was just like partying it up, like partying like it's 1999, and like he was living his last days, probably expecting for the other shoe to drop, right? So this is a crazy case. They're saying they're not expecting it to go to trial right away. We'll wait and see. But when I get updates, I want to give them. The other case that I'm following is Aaron Spencer. Aaron Spencer is the father who killed the guy who was assaulting his underage daughter. He's the one that followed them after she snuck out of their house, and he caught up to them, and he then ran for sheriff, right? We talked about that the other day too, and I've covered that part of the case. He was supposed to have a preliminary hearing, I think today. So I'm going to go watch and see what happened with that case. So I know that the election for sheriff is probably going to be November, so they're trying to have the trial before that. So they're waiting to see. This is hilarious. They're waiting to see if the guy is going to be found innocent so he can run for sheriff of the town. Because, like, how do you guys feel about that? Is he a hero? Is he a hero father? Or is he a you shouldn't take the law into your own hands kind of a guy? There's also some fishery going on in that case because the victim, the guy he killed, had a dash cam, and mysteriously that footage is gone. So I'm wondering, like, is it gone because they're trying to protect the dad? I don't know. Yeah, it is a tough question, especially because it was multiple times and they let him out and he was continuing to do it. So I think that dad held it together as long as he could. That's my opinion, but yeah. Well, thank you everybody who came in and joined me today. I appreciate you guys. This David case is a big one. I don't think there's a lot to question about it, but we'll see. We'll see. And I am still working. I'm doing this series on Ethan and Xana. And I feel like I'm starting to lose my voice. If my daughter got me sick, I'm going to be so mad. I hope it's just getting strained from talking. And my sinuses, I don't know. But I'm following this Ethan Xana track, trying to figure out where they were during that night, or at least using the documents and interviews in the book. What can we tell? Jenna, I'm glad you got your book. So I'm going to come back with another episode about Ethan and Xana tomorrow. And I'll probably have some other Idaho 4 information in there too. And you guys, what do you think about, I saw you guys talking about Cyray's book in the chat. I was so excited to hear that because do you guys know how Carlos and I are? And Carlos kept saying, where's Cyray? Where's Cyray? We're supposed to hear from Cyray. Here we go. Here we go. And if it is a $95 book, that thing, I don't have my books in here. If you read the Harry Potter books, it's probably got to be as big as that, like 1,000 pages. Hopefully. I don't know. I had $95. I'm starting to save up now. I'm putting that money aside. I'm getting that book. And when it does come out, I think they said pre-order was starting. Is it supposed to come out June 1st? If we do another little fundraiser, maybe we can give one of those away again. They better take you to the land of Narnia. I read that whole series, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I read the whole series when I was in college, and then I would always read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to my students. It's one of my favorite books. $95 for the book. Someone better make copies and send them around. I did my hair. I did my own hair. You'll put your cheating write-up from Broken Plea info materials. Oh, okay. Oh, Witchy Was. Okay, you guys, let's go look at Witchy Was channel also. You know what, Witchy Was? I would love to support you if you have a way to get that book by Cy Ray, and if we can help you out by purchasing it through you in any way, let me know. As long as there's fast shipment, because I can't wait forever. Sorry. That's why, like, sometimes I don't really want to order from Amazon, but they're so fast. Your channel's post only. Okay, but you have like notes that you've been taking from the book on there. That's awesome. So you guys can go check those out. I was going to mention something earlier that I learned from the book and I forget what it was, but there's some good information in that book. You're going to get it. Yeah, get on the library wait list, you guys. And you know what? Libraries also have audio versions of books. So you don't have to have like the physical copy. So you can get the audio version of a book at a library. So just a tip. Purchase Cy Ray through Lana. I'll think of other ways people can support me. Okay. Oh, I didn't know Lana was going to do that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Thanks, Juror13. We went to one of those sip-in paints. So one of them is made by me and one of them is made by Carlos. If you can't tell what it is, it's like a boat on a pond with like apartments in the black and sunset. So that's what it's supposed to be. Free audio at the library. Now, I know that it does. The public libraries will restrict you. Like you have to listen to it within 2 weeks or something, but they always let you renew. So yeah, use your libraries. Support the public libraries. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'll come back tomorrow with Idaho 4 and I'll see you in other people's chats in these YouTube streets. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe. It's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time. Same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. That could be unique. Yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe. It's free. Come back again. We'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew, now right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and wild to be a husband and a wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.